When we talk about UDL, we have our three buckets, and one of them has to do with designing for representation. And when we think about UDL, we think about removing barriers that stand between our learners and their learning goals. So, one of the ways Canva can help us design for representation in terms of UDL is to provide multiple means of representation. And what that means is giving your students options and support with how they're taking in material. So, when you're creating your slideshow or when you're creating your presentation, are you just creating a visual for your students, or are you creating something that is multifaceted, multimodal to reach all of your learners? So Canva is great for, pictures and charts and all of the visuals, but you can also add another whole layer to that, which I'm going to show you in this video. And if you remember from my Learn and Explore slideshow, you had the visual information and then you also had me narrating the slides. And that's what I'm going to show you in this video. So I am going to start off with just a multiplying fractions by fractions presentation that I pulled from a Canva template. And this is all text. And I'm going to add just a narration of myself walking my students through the slide so that they can read and take in the information and also hear me saying it at the same time. So to do that, I'm going to go to Uploads and I'm going to select Record Yourself. And you can actually have yourself in the little thumbnail on the camera, or you can turn off your camera and it will be your avatar, whatever your Canva avatar is. And you're going to be able to see the slide behind it. And then you're just going to record. So I hit record. It's going to give you a countdown. Multiplying fractions by fractions. 3/4 of a plate of gelatin was left after a party. Once I get my narration to the point where I like it, I can re-record it as many times as I need it re-recorded. And then I want to put myself somewhere on the slide. And then I'm going to save and exit. And my narration, when I go to present, will be there. There it is. And will play for my students as they make their way through the presentation. Another interesting thing too, I have an example here where I would narrate myself cross canceling. But what you could also do is you could add a slide for your students, and when you put this presentation into your Canva folder and share it with your class, you could have your students try out in the very same slideshow. They could use their draw tools over here to actually do the cross canceling themselves. So you could have them actually interact with the slide and maybe even, I can't help but solve this, and maybe even narrate to you and record themselves telling you with the very same method that I just showed you, telling you how they solve the problem. And then they also kind of solve it and walk through their thought process. And when you go and review the work, you not only see their work, but you can kind of climb into their brains and hear how they went about solving the problem so that you could go back and give them feedback, assess their method, and assess what the issue is with their method, or assess mastery of the method, or of the goal. So those are just a few suggestions of ways to add a little bit of, when you're designing for representation, ways to change it up a little bit so that your students can interact with the slide in a variety of different ways.